experience.
Konnichiwa and welcome along to the Suzuka International Racing Course for the season finale for Season 2 of PSGL Formula Experience. And we're here at Suzuka, Japan, for what promises to be a dramatic title decided with 7 and 8 drivers up for the title here this evening, although one of them is missing. We will go through that shortly. Originally designed as a test circuit for Honda motorcars back in the 1960s, it is one of the only 2 FIA grade licensed tracks to have a figure of 8 layout and the only active track on the Kanda to have such a feature. Now, of course, Japan traditionally used to be one of the main title deciders of Formula 1. We've seen many title deciders over here. Senna and Prost clashing in the 1989 and 1990 season, infamously, and Damon Hill winning here in 1996. The old lump in your throat comment from Murray Walker. Iconic commentary there from the master himself. This 5.8 kilometer circuit features 18 corners, only one DRS zone on the main straight. The exit from the Casio Triangle chicane, very important. 130R, of course. An iconic corner, although not quite the challenge it once was with these high downforce monsters that these modern Formula 1 cars are today, but it should still see plenty of overtaking action down into turn 1. Sector 1, of course, with those Senna S's, absolutely brilliant, but very important for the lab as well. Your usual 18-minute qualifying session to decide the race grid, with 27 laps to come. And this track traditionally hard on the engines, with 66% of the lap taken at full throttle. And here are your usual 3 rounds of dry compounds, 0.5 second difference between the softs and the mediums, and just over a second between the hard and soft compounds. Don't expect to see too much use of the hard compounds because they're not particularly good tyre around here, so I think a soft medium strategy will be the aim for all the drivers here today to go for a one-stop strategy. Now here are your car allocations for the final round of PSGL Experience Season 2. HD and UFN once again in the Mercedes and Cablo in the Ferrari. Iran, notably, former 3-time PSGL F1 champion in the Ferrari. Blue Mosquito and Game Freaker in the Red Bull. Flying Throne, Mr. Grumpy in the Racing Point. McLaren is Josh and Jolie Anamanu, no longer able to defend his championship. Hulkenberger and Jamie in the Haas. Free Gloves and AMS in the Renault. Big C and Maxi Luca in the Alfa Romeo. And most importantly, the top 2 in the championship. QPR Beast and Guarini in the soon-to-be AlphaTauri, and in the Williams, which is going to be struggling, particularly in Sector 1 here, it is Ash Bess, a former PSGL F1 champion, and CC Brain. And a quick look at the championship standings, because you may have noticed in these allocations we had the drivers in reds, and they're the drivers who can win the championship today. Now, Powdy is actually absent here today, so discount him, but the other 7 drivers here can all mathematically win the championship. QR Beast leads the way by 5 points from Greeny FC, with Flying Throne in 3rd, and then Blue Mosquito down in 5th, Big C in 6th, Iran in 7th, and Hulkenberger, who won the opening round at Britain of this short championship, down in 8th position, but can still win it, but would need quite a dramatic turn of events to do so. But joining me in the commentary box, this is personally very special for me personally, and is none other than Mr. Andy Campbell. Welcome. I hope you've enjoyed your sake and your sushi on the way to the grid today.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello everyone, welcome along to the finale of Formula Experience here in PSGL, and my debut in the commentary box for any PSGL events, and what an event to be my first one, an 8-way title fight here for the final round at Suzuka. It's great to link back up with yourself as well, Mark, after our brief stint in AOR F1 previous season, season 18. So really looking forward to this. And Suzuka's a track I always really enjoy racing at and commentating on. So looking forward to another exciting night of action for what is likely to be both of our last commentaries here on F1 2019 as well.
Yes, I mean, as the qualifying gets underway here, just those on their opening out lap. So any particular thoughts on F1 2019? I mean, we've seen a dramatic rise in the esports scene, particularly because of the virus situation. The real-life F1 drivers have really embraced the official F1 game, and we've seen some pretty brilliant virtual racing from them. George Russell, notably, seems to be a god at these games, considering he wasn't doing it very long. But it certainly seems like this game series is about as high-profile as it ever has been.
Absolutely, and there's obviously a lot of bits that people go on about how it's not full sim, etc. But of course, it's a worldwide license. They've got to find that balance, and I think this has been one of the best iterations of the game. Has there been issues with it? Of course, there has been. There probably always will be to some extent. But I mean, To show you as well, though, if we look there, we've got 20 drivers here tonight at the end of a game cycle. That's not something you see very often, and I think that speaks volumes as well for it. A lot of the drivers have been wanting to keep going and keep pushing until the end. The virus situation will certainly have played a part in it as well, but I do think that this has been one of the better games, and I'm really looking forward to 2020 to see what that'll bring as well.
Yes, but also stands pretty well for the quality of this community. PSGL, of course, has been around a very long time, one of the longest established F1 game communities there is. It predates most of the more famous ones to some degree, but it is certainly very high-profile. Incidentally, just to mention, after tonight's action, tomorrow the Esports Cup continues, and then we've got the Race of Champions to look forward to in a few weeks, and that's always a dramatic event. Having covered the last one in Mexico myself, it's always a bit of an unexpected showing there. It's Big C sets the early pace to 1:29.179. So for the hot lap today, we're going to go on board with the Toro Rosso, soon to be Alpha Tauri team. And the QPR Beast is the championship leader. He's just going through Spoon Curve at the moment, so we'll come back to him shortly. Just see if anyone else is going to get the track map up, of course, which is a very useful feature in the current game. I think Iran's about to... No, it's not Iran, actually. It's Cablo who's starting his flying lap. And then we got Williams crossing the line to Ash Best, who very famously, back in season 19, PSGL F1, won the top tier title in the tightest ever title battle against Cliffy. They finished level on points, and it was only because Ash Best's amazing win record in the second half of the season which won him the title. So, QPRB starting a lap of Suzuka. Take it away, Andy.
Yeah, flying down towards turn number 1 with the DRS wide open, bringing the Scott lap to you from everywhere else for the first time. Into turn 1, you take so much speed through the first apex and then use the engine brake and you get slowed down into turn 2. Now into the famous flowing SE section. If you get one part of this wrong, you completely mess up. Into the next right-hander before heading up through Dunlop curve, up never under 100 miles an hour or so, up to 6th gear quickly here for QPR Beasts as he comes up towards the end of sector 1 and into the first of the 2 Degner turns. You're basically throwing it in there, top speed of 160 miles an hour in 6th gear, slowing it down for the slightly tighter Degner 2, which is curbed and cambered to the inside. Now up towards turn 10, the hairpin, probably the best overtaking zone along with the chicane, really getting it slowed down. Some drivers might take first gear for that extra bit of rotation and getting the car slowed down. Through the slight right-hand curve up towards Spoon Corner now, a double apex left-hander this time, down to 5th gear, use as much of the curb as you dare on the exit, down to 4th, just under 100 miles an hour, and really running the curb wide there is the Toro Rosso as we come out of Spoon Curve, heading up towards the infamous 130. It's a lot easier now than it used to be back in the day, completely flat out, but it's still an absolutely brilliant corner. Car up ahead stays to the right hand side, slowing down into the Casio Triangle chicane, using 2nd gear briefly, quickly up to 3rd as we go through there. Good run to the line, avoid that infamous bump, and then up to the line we go, and that is a 1 minute 30.0 from the Toro Rosso. Championship leader puts himself into 4th position, 1.4 seconds down at the moment. The Ferrari of Iran up there now, 128.6, which is kind of what we're expecting to be pole position. Somewhere around about a mid 28 is what we're thinking here tonight as being pole position. Maybe a little bit into the low 28, so we'll need to wait and see. But Ferrari driver got an outside chance at the championship, you would say, with the points difference. He's down on 23 points, 11 points behind, but he's got the Ferrari, which will give him a really, really good chance of getting himself into the scraps tonight.
Yeah, just on board with Flying Frome, who just set a 1:30.355 to move up into the top 6. Racing Point is one of the more stronger midfield cars of this particular track, so expect them and the Mclaren to be pretty strong here. The Renault's not expected to be too high performing, neither are the Haas cars, but the Haas cars tend to struggle at some of these more circuits where there's a lot of high speed action. It's a bit high speed corners, I should say. As Julian Manu, well, he had a pretty nightmarish start to the campaign, but he has sort of gained some points recently, but he never really was able to get the results to defend his championship. But he can always hold his head high to have the first experience championship earlier on. But he will be hoping maybe to get a big result today to get back into the top 10 championship. He's about 6 points behind Free Gloves at the moment. So here comes Julian Manu heading for the line then. What's it going to be? Currently P14, he's moves up into the top 10. So HDE actually, incidentally, who hasn't scored any points this season, I don't believe, in the Mercedes. He's he's got 2 points in the opening round, I should say. He's currently in P5, so he'd be pretty happy with that. But the main title battle, well, the top 2 in the championship at the moment are QPR Beasts and Greeny FC, and for the interest of fairness, they were allocated the same car, which I think is a sensible decision from the admins. As Greeny FC still in the pits, and hasn't set a time yet. I think he invalidated his first lap there. Now Big C is out there in the Alfa Romeo. Is that a second run for the Alfa Romeo for Big C? A race winner in this series earlier on back at Canada. We've had 5 different race winners, and it's not beyond the realms of possibility we'll get a 6th one, which just shows you how open it's been. Obviously the performance allocations does make repeat winners unlikely, because when you win a race in one of the top cars, you tend to get allocated to a lesser car for the following race, so it does make it much harder. So you don't often see repeat winners in performance-based series like this. So through the Degeners he goes. It looks like a purple sector 1, so a really good strong showing from Big C so far for this lap. The hairpins always seems to take an age to get round turn 10, and then blasting up towards Spoon Curve. It's got a bit of traffic up ahead. I think that may be Maxi Luca. Is Maxi Luca in the Alfa Romeo going to give him a nice tow? No, that is in fact a Red Bull. So I'm obviously colourblind today. But here comes Big C then through Spoon Curve, where Damon Hill famously crashed twice in 1995, which really summed up his season, which was dominated by Michael Schumacher. But of course, a year later, he got all the glory at Suzuka, sealing the championship here, besting Jacques Villeneuve. Through 130R, Big C goes, a purple sector again. So this looks like a pretty strong showing from the Alfa Romeo driver. It could be good enough to challenge, perhaps, Iran's current provisional pole. Is it going to be a 128.876? So that's a really strong lap in the Alfa Romeo.
Very good lap there from the 7-time PSGL F1 champion, really showing some good form. He's got an outside chance himself, sitting on 24 points, 10 points behind QPR Beast in the championship. So looking strong in that Alfa Romeo early doors there. I'll just point out, if you, obviously you already know, Mark, but just for the viewers as well, if I cut in and out at points, I've been having some microphone issues, so never good.
Yes.
The joys of working from home has ruined everything.
Yes, it seems like Godzilla has got hold of your internet connection, or at least for the mic anyway, and chewing the wires a little bit, but I'm sure it will sort itself out. Discord, gotta love it. Here comes Hulkenberger then, who won the opening round at Britain in brilliant style. Since then has found points a little bit harder to come by, only 2 points since then, and a non-finish at Brazil last week. A very chaotic race it was at Brazil last week. We had drivers crashing on the main straight just before the end, right on the final lap. So Hulkenberger will be hoping to finish the season on the high. He knows that winning the championship from here is highly unlikely unless pretty much everyone ahead of him has a horrendous race. But with 20 drivers, you never know. Some drivers will want a couple of reserves here. Maxi Luke and CC Brain, who are very commendable drivers in their own right. Here comes Hulkenberger then, currently P17, and he goes up to P13, so 2.3 seconds off the pace at the moment. Now I have to say, Ash Best, I would say, Andy, his P4 in the Williams at the moment, particularly given how weak this car is in Sector 1, which is, in my opinion, the most important sector on the track, because if you have a poor Sector 1, it's very, very difficult to regain the time in the final 2 sectors unless you get slipstream on the back straight through 130R.
Yeah, absolutely. We all know the Williams hasn't been the strongest car over the last couple of seasons, which is such a shame. For me, having watched F1 since the 90s, they were the team I always enjoyed and kind of supported, so it's such a shame to see. But that is put himself up in a P4 ahead of, a Red Bull, another Ferrari, which hasn't set a lap time yet, mind you, the Mercedes cars. That's a really, really good lap time from Ash. He's one of the few drivers that I have actually seen before personally and commentated on. So a lot of these drivers I'll be seeing for the first time. But Ash is certainly one that I have seen before, and he's definitely capable of being a very quick driver in his day. And although it's 1.4 seconds down in pole position, that's a Ferrari to a Williams with performance being the cars. It's not equal performance, obviously. So that's a really, really good lap time. They must have really hooked that one up.
Yeah, just on board with Cablo. Seems to be struggling with the front end of this Ferrari at the moment. Two seconds off the pace right now. Just seems to be struggling with the balance of car. Might be worth putting a little bit more wing on, because it looked like, in particular, the more slower corners, like the Casio Triangle, just struggling to get the power down. So he'll be looking to get a bit more time at that Ferrari. So Game Freaker in the Red Bull. Red Bull allocated driver starting to make a move. Game Freaker up to P2. Greeny FC then. Now that's interesting. He's just gone ahead of QPR Beast with a very, very good time. He's only less than half a second. Greeny's been very strong recently. And of course last week he won at Brazil in absolutely brilliant fashion. It was a great, almost freeway fight all the way through. But in the end it was Greeny who came out on top. against Josh. And that was a fantastic battle. So the two title contenders right next to each other on the grid currently. So just under 5 minutes of the session, I should say, to go here as Suzuka. Let's have a look at Joliana Manu. Joliana Manu is on a flying lap, heading out towards 130R. He's going to get a decent slipstream on the car ahead. Whether that's intentional or not, I'm not sure yet. The Mercedes pulls out of the way. Renault, I should say. Through 130R it goes. What can Joliana Manu do? Currently 1.9 off the pace in the McLaren. Be hoping to gain a few more places. Although P11, not a bad place to start here. Undercut is very powerful here, so you expect some earlier pit stops from some of the protagonists. And P6 for the reigning champion. So he'll be feeling a lot better with himself after that one.
Yeah, pretty nice lap time there. Again, the McLaren just 1.2 down on the Ferrari, getting himself into a nice bit of slipstream from the Renault up towards 130R will certainly have helped him a bit. Looks like he's now slowing down, possibly maybe to look for his teammates. I'm sure I've seen the other McLaren kicking around not too far behind, and that would obviously be in fact, his teammates in the pits. It must have been one of the Reynolds. But nice lap time there for getting him up into P6. I am probably going to butcher that name at some point, so if he is watching it back, I do apologise. Because some of these names, as I say, are completely new to me, so I will probably make a complete mess of them. How you say that perfectly nearly every time, I don't know.
Well, I mean, all cats are grey, don't even bother, just call him Josh, much easier to say. Hulkenberger, that's how you say that. And then you know, the rest of them, Joliana Manu. That's always a tricky one to say, but that's pretty much how you say it. It's kind of like Cristiano, but Joliana Anu. But yeah, even I get it wrong sometimes. So maybe it's best to call him Joel.
Whatever works, as long as the viewers know what I'm talking about, that'll be totally fine.
So AMS on a flying lap at the moment, and now I just saw a purple sector from Free Gloves. So Free Gloves is on a very strong run in the Renault at the moment, currently P11. Cuts the Casso slightly, but didn't get invalidation. I think that was just within the region of legality. And across the line, it's up to P9 for Free Gloves. So he'll be pretty pleased with that. And we got the other Williams out there, and that is CC Brain. And there's a Racing Point of Flying Foam who's coming in on an end lap. So I think most of the drivers are just coming back to the pits. Now, in terms of the pit strategy, pit loss here is between 18 to 20 seconds, I believe. So as we mentioned, the undercut quite strong, so expect the soft runners to come in, around, between lap 9 to lap 12. That's kind of your window for the soft runners, and then it'll be mediums to the end from there. But some drivers I've seen have come in even as early as lap 7 or 8 and they've got to the end of the race. So tyre wear, not a particular issue here. It's more the performance of the tyres that can go off if you do too long a stint on the mediums and take too much out of them, because the fresh softs can be extremely powerful. 1.5 seconds a lap faster fresh softs can be in the closing laps. And of course, given the kind of tightness of this circuit, don't rule out safety cars. Safety cars are quite common here at Suzuka, so don't be surprised if we see an early safety car or even a late one if someone bins it into the wall. 130R, but as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, 130R certainly not the great challenge it once was, Andy. It used to be a terrifying corner in some of the older games, and indeed for the real life, but it's easy flat now, 130R.
Yeah, they've opened it up an awful lot. I mean, that runoff on the outside used to be grass. If you go back and watch, even as recently as like 2002, you had Alec McNish had a huge crash on his way to the grid, of all things, in the Toyota, and he actually vaulted over the wall, and it wasn't long after that they reprofiled it. It's still a frightening corner, obviously. You're taking it absolutely flat out, but it used to be a lot tighter back in the day, and that really, really made a difference. We've got HD just sitting off at the side of the track there. I think he's just got a bit wide through the S section. I think that might have been his in lap, so it's not going to be too much of an issue. But yeah, I mean, don't expect to see the hard compound tyres, as you're saying, during this race. It is mainly going to be soft and medium, unless someone gets caught out in turn 1. As you say, I'm expecting somewhere around about lap 8, lap 9, as you say, to around about lap 11 or 12 for those on the softs. Mediums, if anyone starting outside the top 10 goes medium to soft, around about lap 14 to 17 or 18.
Oh dear, well, QPR Beast, he's had a very difficult moment. He's made a mistake in Sector 1, off onto the grass he goes, and that has ruined his lap time. So his qualifying session is over. He's going to be only best P6. Greeny is on a lap as well, as is Game Freak and Big C. Iran F1 is about to start a race, so it looks like the battle for pole will be between the four of Iran, Game Freak and Big C and Greeny FC. QPR Beast, it certainly knocks out that equation with that mistake in sector 1. The S-bend in that first sector, there's such a technical challenge, particularly when you're on the wheel with no assists. You have to get every little connotation of those turns right, 'cause any slight mistake is then magnified in the following sections you try and correct. So Greeny FC carries on. He will be the first of the four we mentioned to finish the lap here. The other drivers for Pride. Let's have a look where Big C is. Yeah, Big C just coming out of the hairpin at the moment, and Game Freaker not far behind him. So Greeny FC heading up. It's going to get a nice tow though. Now there is a Constructors Championship of sorts, so they're not all in the same car, the teammates, but it's kind of a for fun thing, so we don't really take it seriously. So we won't really talk about the standings for the constructors in this. It's all about the Drivers' Championship here tonight, as we see that iconic Ferris wheel in the background. Very smooth Casio triangle there from Greeny LFC. The race winner here from Brazil last week. It wasn't going to be for Greeny, it's going to be P2, but a very commendable time. Big C's just behind him, just coming out of the Casio triangle for the final time in this session. The checkered flag is aloft, and it's P2. Game Freaker just behind, but that is incredibly tight. 009 Game Freaker. Oh, it's the same time as Big C. 009 off. So Aaron, well, he may not know the situation, but Aaron's going to try and head over the line and seal that pole position. And Aaron does indeed, a 1:28.369, and just behind Capello. No, Cablo's actually finished. Is there any other drivers finishing a lap? It looks like everyone's finished actually. AMS as well. So Aaron is the man here, but my goodness, how tight was it between Game Freak and Big C and Greeny? They had some storming laps there.
Yeah, that was just the same lap time, 1:28.633 to the absolute thousandth of a second as well. Really, really close. That's given me 1997 Jerez vibes, if you remember that one, or anyone knows about the history of that. Three drivers getting the same time, Villeneuve, Schumacher and Frentzen. So
yes,
brilliant stuff. But Aaron there on pole position needs to use the speed of that Ferrari if he wants to have any chance of winning the championship tonight. But there is your qualifying standings.
Yes, so Aaron, he was the pre-race favourite, given his speed in the Ferrari, but he's still got a lot of ground to make up. It's going to need some of his tyre rivals to have bad races, and Green FC is exactly where he needs to be. Game Freaker, P2, Big C and Green on row 2. HDE and Ashbest, row 3. Jamie and QPR Beast P8. He'll be slightly disappointed with his final run. I think he could have been a few places up. Johnny Adam New in AMS making up the top 10. Josh and Cablo, row 6. Row 7, it is Flying Throne and Boo Mosquito, Free Glove CC Brain, next then Grumpy Holkenberg, and at the back of the grid it is Maxi Luca and Juho Finn in the Mercedes. So of course, looking ahead to F1 2020, PSGL will be back. Sign-up details will be coming out in July around the time of the game's release. So keep an eye out for that. We'll have the usual links. And goodness me, Andy, goodness me. This is proper Suzuka stuff. It's like 1976 with Hunter Lauda. We have rain, heavy rain here by the looks of it. I can see blue. Is that blue wall tyres? Yeah, it looks like blue wall tyres from the little view in the bottom right. I can see, but it is bucketing it down here at Suzuka, so that may explain why some of the times were slightly slower than I expected. So wet setups being used, and that explains a lot. But my goodness, this really throws it up. It could go to the wet weather specialist here today, and this could have a big effect on the championship, and it's going to make those in the midfield pack with the spray so difficult to navigate what is a very tricky turn 1. The apex does tighten the more you go into turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the fact that PSGL have tried to make me at home with typical Scottish weather, so I really do appreciate that. But yeah, turn 1's going to be really, really interesting with these 20 cars heading in, all on the wet tyres. For those at the back, the spray is going to be incredible. And as you say, that's maybe why quite a few of the drivers were a bit slower than we maybe thought they might be through qualifying. Some of them might have went a little bit sort of in between just to see if they could get up the grid a wee bit more and then try and work from that. But yeah, this really throws the cat amongst the pigeons.
It certainly does. A brief reminder then of the championship standings. It's a 5-point gap between QPR Beast and Greeny LFC. And of course, QPR Beast starting a few positions behind his chief rival, Flying Throne, on 28 points. Powder is not here this evening, unfortunately, could not make it, so he is not non-factor. So in effect, instead of an 8-way, it's a 7-way title battle, but that's still not too bad. You're lucky to get one maybe 2 in the title fight these days, given Mercedes' dominance. Blue Mosquito and Big C outside bets for the championship. Aaron certainly has the car to win the championship, but will rely on the results of others to win the championship. But he will be the favourite to win the race. Hulkenberger will need a miracle, but if he wins a second race and all his rivals don't score, he will win the championship on superior win record, because no one in this championship this season has won 2 races yet. So my colleague Andy, oh my goodness, QPR Beast, he's done a coulthard, he's gone into the gravel on the first lap, but luckily he doesn't need a spare car and he should be able to regain his position. But well, he seems to be slightly nervy, Andy, by the looks of it.
Quite possible, either that or maybe just really pushing the limits of where he can get on the brakes into the hairpin, maybe just wanting to try it while there's really no consequence. Just pushing it a little bit more, because you're better to do it there and maybe look a little bit silly on stream since we caught it than do it on lap 1 and completely ruin your race and take your wing off. So maybe nerves, maybe tactical, maybe he was just trying to test in the waters, which is quite coincidental considering how wet it is, but that'll certainly have frazzled him a little bit for sure. That wouldn't have been any help at all.
No, it certainly wouldn't have been pleasant for him, but of course at Honda's home event they'll be hoping for some big results from the Red Bull and Toro Rosso cars. The umbrellas are out in the grandstands. Azirin will have the best view in the house. If he can get a good start, he'll have the easiest job into turn 1. He'll have no spray in front of him, but he'll be chucking a load of water back at the field behind him, and that'll be magnified by each following car. So by the time you get down to 10th or 11th, you can basically see nothing when you're on board. So here we go then. The grid then begins to form, and we'll be going to green flag conditions very shortly at the classic, iconic Suzuka International Racing Course. We've just seen so many title battles decided over the years, and hopefully, unlike 1998, the Ferrari will not stall on the grid like Michael Schumacher did, which gave Mclaren such a huge advantage in that particular title battle. So seeing the last car, yep, the last car is forming now, and hopefully we'll get a decent camera view. At the moment all I can see is a concrete wall, so that's no good. But here we go then. Watch out for those 5 red lights. The green flags are showing, and still not got a good camera view, but here we go then. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we are about to underway here at Japan. Vansai, and away we go. Iran making a very good start, cutting off the Red Bull of Game Freak aggressively. The Schumacher chop, very classic Ferrari strategy there. Green FC's made a great start, straight ahead of Big C immediately, up to P3, doing exactly what he needs to do. Everyone seems to have got through cleanly so far into turn 1. We'll go on board with Green FC just to see what the conditions are like. Oh, they're pretty horrendous, it has to be said. It's very 76-esque here. The Mercedes HD under pressure from Ash Best, the season 19 F1 champion. He'll be familiar to a wet race here at Japan. This is the kind of conditions he won his one and only PSGL F1 championship in. The 2 McLarens going almost side by side through the centre resses. Just behind that is All Cats and Joliana Manu. And we'll go through the winners and losers shortly. But at the moment, QPR Beast has actually had a solid start despite his struggles on the formation lap. He's up to P7 ahead of Jamie. We'll go for winners. And look at that, Greeny getting a brilliant run out of the second Degner curve. And he's right on the back of Game Freak already, but backs off. The top 4 are absolutely miles clear of Ash Best already. But HD trying to come back at the Williams of Ash Best. And there's also a bit of contact there. Oh, QPR Beast has caught in no man's land there, nowhere to go, getting squeezed off, and he's now dropped back to P9. So his championship bid's not going well at all. As it stands, Greeny LFC will be winning the championship. So a dramatic lap 1. So QPR Beast has got some work to do. Having a look, HD has been causing a bit of a kerfuffle, kind of holding up all the cars at the moment. And now we'll watch QPR Beast, because this is title deciding possibly early on. QPR Beast right on the back of the Mercedes power unit, giving him superior speed. We'll just have a look. Yellow flags out on track somewhere. Finn. It is Juho Finn. Juho Spin living up to his name again. And what's going on behind? It looks like the Williams is going into combat with Jamie. Yeah, Jamie's just been overtaken by Ash Best. So a very good overtake, but right behind that is the McLaren of Josh trying to get ahead. But now the Haas, the Ferrari power unit, kicks in, and Jamie's going to sweep straight past the Williams again unless Ash Best can go late on the brakes. Yes, he does. Oh, slight contact between the two. And a spin for Juho again, just before the Casio Triangle, struggling in the wet conditions already.
Safety car.
Really scabbering. Oh, it's a safety car. And he's actually binned it completely. He's retired the car. So Juho Finn is out of the race and an early safety car. And crucially, Andy, Greeny FC managed to squeeze ahead of the Red Bull Game Freak just before that happened.
Yeah, plenty going on there during that first lap. I mean, it looked all pretty clean. There was quite a few side-by-sides. Cablo and the Ferrari seemed to be a bit of a standard, standing chicane for a few of the drivers. Just seems to be really struggling to get the power down in these wet conditions. Went down the field, dropped 4 places, and he just seemed to be struggling through Spoon Corner. Specifically, Blue Mosquito, who is obviously in the championship fight. He's in 5th position coming into tonight. He's down in 18th position in the Red Bull, and I do believe he's also already picked up a 5-second penalty for excessive corner cutting. So he's gone too far into the chicane, and just that's going to ruin his race already. A few good moves down the field. Seen Mr. Grumpy flying one up the inside into the Casio Triangle chicane on the Ferrari Cablo, and got it slowed down and turned in very nicely indeed in these wet conditions. So some good moves going on. The one major bit obviously being Drew Finn spinning at Spoon Curve and spinning again, and now out of the race and causing this early safety car, which your front lot will not be happy with, because the front 3 had disappeared a little bit from the rest of the field, so they'll be quite annoyed at that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Finn seemed to struggle immediately in that race. Car obviously not set up correctly for the wet conditions, and 130R is certainly a terrifying corner to go through in the wet. Perhaps not what it once was in the dries, as we talked about earlier, but in the wet it is still a very dangerous corner, and he pushed it a little bit too far there. Safety car is waiting just underneath the bridge at the figure of 8 layouts as Grumpy picks up a 10-second time penalty. Now that is quite a common occurrence at this particular track because of there is sort of a glitched corner there, so that might get removed after the race. It looks like we got some activity in the pit lane. It's just some wing changes already. Let's have a look. Yeah, wing changes for HDE, and I think Jamie's having one as well. Just have a look at the
some intermediate cut tyres going on as well. Jamie, Ash, and
intermediate tyres already. Well, that's
as well.
Very interesting. Still looks pretty horrendous out there. So that's one of those. Well, may as well gamble. If it works, it's going to really benefit them, and it's going to flip this tile decider upside down for a lot of the drivers. But if it doesn't work, if it stays like this, they will be they'll be heading off into Narnia, into barriers, just as Juho did. Shortly. It still looks pretty treacherous out there.
The only thing I can think of is that the guys that have gone on intermediates, Jamie, Ashbest, CC Brain and HD, they're not in the championship battle, so they're maybe just looking to try and take a chance, try and see if they can get the glory here tonight, getting the victory. Yeah. They're not in any championship battle, so they don't need to worry about that. They can kind of just drive their own race and try and finish the season on a high. For some of them, this might be their last race on F1 2019, wanting to go out in a good way, so maybe feeling there's nothing to lose and everything to gain by taking a bit of a chance. Maybe the weather forecast is due to dry up. You wouldn't think that looking out at the moment onto the track in the sky, but it could be they're maybe playing the longer game and deciding it's worth the risk.
Yes. Now the crane is out on the circuit, so of course they have to adhere to a speed limit and no overtaking, of course, under the safety car. Full yellow flag conditions. There's a 5-second penalty. How are they getting time penalties under yellow flag conditions like this? That's scandalous driving there from Cablo. Perhaps over celebrating the win that Newcastle got over Sheffield United earlier on. He is a Toon fan, of course, but I think the safety car will be out for one more lap at least. I think the lights are still on. Yep, lights are still on that splendid looking Mercedes powered safety car driven by Bert Nijlander. But we are still going to be one more safety car lap, I would say. I think the car will be cleared by then, and then we'll be underway again. Now the interesting, Greeny has looked very quick so far. Got a brilliant start to get ahead of Big C, and then gained 2 places from the start. Got the move done on Game Freaker just before. And oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? They're coming in again. Have they? No, they're going to try and serve their time penalties now.
And Hulkenberg as well.
Yeah, so I think they're serving their time penalties now and switching to the intermediates. So that's interesting.
That's two or three of the championship protagonists as well, flying from
as well. Yeah, well, the pack is going very, very slowly. This is unusually slow safety car speed. I mean, they should be able to catch up even now because they're going through the center S's. I mean, the S-bends, I should say. And they're going painfully slow. I mean, this is going to be doing absolute havoc on their tyre temperatures, which are hard enough to keep up when you've got wet conditions like this. But, more drivers then on the intermediate tyres. So we will, we've got nearly half the grid now on the intermediate. 7 drivers. Well, they've taken the gamble. Well, we may have a few more twists and turns comes. The rain looks like it has eased off a little bit, though, I have to say, Andy, over the past lap and a half or so.
Just a little bit. It's now what we call in Scotland a drizzle, which is usually still very heavy.
Yes. This would be a monsoon in a desert country, that is for sure. For Scotland, it's an everyday occurrence
Pretty
most
much.
of the time.
Yeah, it was actually raining today as well, pretty much like this. So yeah, I'm very used to it. But yeah, I mean, quite a few of them taking the chance. So I'm guessing the weather forecast is maybe that it is to dry up a little bit, maybe not enough for slick tyres. But again, quite a few of them that came in originally for intermediates, not in the championship battle, but now we've seen flying from Blue Mosquito and Hulkenberger, who are in with a chance of winning the championship, coming in and putting on the intermediate tyres as well. That was Hulkenberger's second pit stop in 2 laps. So maybe he didn't intend to put them on the first time when they done a wing change. But safety car in this lap, so they're about to get back underway here at Suzuka.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the second time. We will keep an eye on the second time so this may run. But here we go. The first restart of the race. I did say there would be a safety car in this track. And Game Freaker picks up a 10-second. Well, not that surely. I think he just ran wide out of there, but we'll forget about that for the time being. Aaron then gallops away in that prancing horse with Green FC pursuing him just behind. It's a pretty good restart from Aaron. The power unit getting away, and solid restart from Greeny as well. In fact, they'll hold the top 4 to pretty well. I think a good job. Oh, Greeny FC's miles wide at turn 1. First real mistake he's made in the race. So that restart now he's going to go side by side with Game Freaker. Game Freaker reclaims P2, and that's a big mistake from Greeny FC. And you don't want to be out there on the tarmac outside of the track because it is treacherous there. No real grip there with all the puddles everywhere. So Green FC, well, he'll have to reorganise himself and give chase again to Game Freak and get ahead of him as he did earlier in the race. So Josh is in P5, QPR Beast up to P6, so he's still in the title fight at the moment. We'll have to figure out the points difference. I think it's 4 points, it's 10 points for third place, and for QPR Beast that's 5 points. So at the moment,
they'll be tied.
It is a tie at the moment for the championship. And because Greeny FC has won a race and QPR Beast hasn't this season, that means Greeny FC would win the championship at the moment as it stands. And there's a lot of argy-bargy going on here. Jolly Animus dropping back from AMS and now under pressure from Free Gloves. And see what Free Gloves can do as they head down towards Spoon Curve. Don't usually see an overtake there. These cars are a bit too wide. You used to see overtakes there back in the day when the cars were, not as wide as they are now. But most of the overtakes tend to happen into 130R after that particular section.
Oh, the grip. Jamie on the intermediate, sorry to come across, the grip that he got out of Spoon Curve on Cablo's Ferrari was just incredible. He's alongside up to 130R and through. So on the intermediates, Jamie's already gained about 3 or 4 places.
Well, that is very interesting. He's gaining on the cars ahead as well. I mean, they're all really gaining.
Greeny's in the pits.
He's gone past two, and Jamie, I tell you what, Jamie, this is looking like vintage PSGL F1 form for when he was challenging for championships. He has played a blind here, and I think he's going to get Free Gloves with absolute ease, consummate ease. Here comes the Haas, up to P6. So Jamie's got back to his original grid position, I believe, already on those intermediates. Just behind his best CC Brains.
Actually, he's not 1 place from where he started, so he's flying back through the field. And I think everyone else is realising intermediates are the tyres because a whole flux of them just went into pit lane as well.
Yeah, well, Greeny's decided to come in, but now this swings it back potentially to QPR Beast, but QPR Beast actually is not on the inters at the moment. So these the top 5 are going to have to struggle around for another lap. So clearly the inters are the tyre to be on right now. So when this all plays out, Jamie is going to be leading this race, which is unbelievable. This is certainly not what anyone expected going into this particular race. Let's have a look at Ash Best, because Ash Best is all over the back of Free Gloves. Will Free Gloves actually be able to get into the corner? Oh, he goes very deep. There's no grip on those wets at all. And surely the power advantage and the grip advantage is going to go to Ash Best. Oh, they're going to go side by side in turn 11, and he gets the move done. But my goodness, this has really played havoc with the predictions. If you're a gambling man, you might be losing or gaining a lot of money. Who knows? But Aaron's actually got a 1.7 gap, so the Ferrari performance in terms of pure speed is helping him at the moment. Big C under a lot of pressure though from Josh and QPR Beast. But will these drivers pit or will they carry on? That's going to be the interesting question. But surely, given the time they're losing and the fact Jamie is rapidly catching them, they're going to have to think about a pit stop here. Here they come. What's Aaron going to do? Is he going to carry on?
They've got to come in, surely.
Yeah, they're all pitting. Here we go. So, dramatically, it is Jamie, the season 18 PSGL F1 champion, who's kind of been run-of-the-mill in this series so far, is leading this race, and he sets the fastest lap to boot. Now, in terms of the championship, Greeny FC did pit the lap before, and has he gained the time on QPR Beast to get back ahead of him? So yeah, I think he's going to gain. Yeah, he's going to gain all the places, and by a mile, in fact. Goodness me! So Greeny FC, if he can catch up to the guys ahead with his superior pace, then he could have well have put himself into really good.
Ooh. Sorry, AMS just sweeping around the outside of Aaron there as he came out of pit lane, so he's actually lost another place there, Ferrari driver.
That is a train and a half. The
so
AMS, Aaron Joliana Manu, Big C, that's about as old school PSGL F1 train as you're likely to get. Probably well over 500 PSGL F1 races between these four alone. So they're very familiar with each other. They've raced each other many times, but Aaron, well, he'll be slightly disappointed the way this has turned out. The strategy's gone completely against him, but he has got the best car here today though, and he's got the best speed out of those who've got the best allocations. Cablo, his other Ferrari driver, has spun at the centre F, so he's having a bit of a nightmare end season, and in fact he's on the wet still, so I think his team didn't change the tyres properly, so that is, unless he gets a safety car, that's pretty much his race game over. Now we're getting some news from the Mercedes. Toto Wolff's been talking to Rachel at Sky Sports, and apparently the wheel disconnected for Juho Finn near the final corner. Oh, and look at that, AMS, a big tank slapper. Big tank slapper there, coming out of Spoon Curve, and surely he'll have no prayer. He's got no speed at all. Here comes Iran then to take the position with ease, and he does indeed. But that was pretty scary for AMS, nearly lost it completely. Thank goodness, Andy, that didn't happen at 130R.
No, that would have been a big one if it happened at 130R, but those that did pit under the safety car and just after have gained a heck of a lot of time. You can see Greeny there, a 144.1 with the fastest lap of the race. On that first full lap after the safety car restart, Jamie was 3 times quicker than anyone else in the intermediates. He was generally about a second quicker than everyone else, and he was passing cars left, right and centre throughout that entire lap. So it just showed you just how good the intermediates are. He just picked the exact right time to be on the right tyre, and it's seen the pole sitter now down in 9th position, having been one of the last drivers to come in and put the intermediate tyres on. So it was definitely worthwhile coming in, and those that took the risk have really benefited from it. We'll get some championship standings up when we get to mid-race point. When we get to that part of the race, I'll just give you an update at that point, but that's really made out things interesting, and Jamie's 3.3 seconds clear. Then watching Blue Mosquito go again up the inside of HD, and the Mercedes finally got it done as well. He done that last lap and then lost out, but now he's finally got the move done and up into P5.
Yeah, I switched to that at the perfect time, just as he was diving down Kobayashi style into the hairpin. Now the two Williams cars, you can see they are struggling. I mean, this car's bad enough in the dry aerodynamic wise, but my goodness, they must be struggling a treat in Sector 1. Obviously with the Mercedes power unit, they probably enjoy life a little bit more in the, oh my goodness, I foresee his brain's about to go. He's trying to go around the outside at 130R and thinks better of it. That's a bold move in the drive, but he's going to go down the inside. Senna, 89 star on Prost. They make slight contact. And then it gets the switchback. It's going to try and come back in. The Racing Point Flying Chrome. So Flying Chrome is suddenly back in this championship. We may have to look at the standings, because Flying Chrome, he was only 6 points off the championship going into this race. But if he can gain a couple more positions, he could be well in position to win this. Greeny FC, though, is rapidly catching Hulkenberger and HTE, so he'll gain a couple of places soon. CC Brain takes Ash Best then. Now, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, these are all actual positions. There's no net positions here. They're not out of position. All of them have made their first pit stop. Because of the changing conditions, so these are the legitimate positions. You may have left the race at lap 1 and you come back and suddenly, my goodness, they've all gone 180 in terms of the positions, but no, this is exactly what's happened. So Jamie leads from CC Brain, nearly 5-second gap now for Jamie now, so that's a huge advantage for him. So as long as he judges, it looks like it's going to be dry by the end of the race, Sandy, so as long as Jamie judges when to pit when that time comes, then he's going to be surely overwhelming favourite to win the race here.
Yeah, absolutely. If he can time the transition again, he'll be in perfect position. Nice battle in between the two Williams, CC Brain and Ashbest, giving me flashbacks to watching the history between PK and Mansell back in the 80s as Hulkenberger manages to get himself past an HD up at the hairpin again, so doing the same thing that Blue Mosquito did last time by. But look at the gap the Red Bull pulled on these guys in one lap, 4 seconds already. So once he got in a clear air, he's really just taken off. He does have a few penalties that might get removed post-race. That's really going to play havoc on what the championship is going to be possibly come the end, because a few drivers have picked up some penalties that you normally wouldn't see, as Greeny easily slipstreams by on HDE there up towards 130R as well, so that puts him up into 7th position. But Jamie's got 4.2 seconds. It looks like CC Brain's got a good bit of pace in that Williams. And of course, although it's performance cars in the rain, that's a great neutraliser to some of the poorer performing cars, like the Williams, for example. It really allows the drivers to just use their skill.
Greeny FC though, it's going to make a good move on Hulkenberger. And yes, you're right, the rain does become a bit of an equaliser. It does sometimes come down to driver skill. That's sense. So Greeny FC back up to P6. So at the moment, that gives him 5 points. That puts him tied with QPR Beast at the moment. But if he can get ahead of Blue Mosquito, for example, that would get him another position. It's going to be so fascinating to see how this plays out, if indeed we get dry conditions, or indeed if they're going to have to try and get these intermediates all the way to the end. Because it seems like to me, if you pit now, you're going to have to hope everyone else does. But those who have had a few less laps, that may give them an advantage in terms of their intermediate performance towards the end of the race. Now, Aaron has been on a bit of a charge. He's got well away of AMS, having overtaken him, and he's going to easily get ahead. Got a purple sector from Aaron in sector 1, navigating that very nicely and getting ahead of HDE easily. And now he's going to be giving chase to Hulkenberger and Greeny FC up ahead. So it's a 5-second gap though between Greeny and Blue Mosquito. So they've got a lot of work to do, the drivers who were, the lead performers in qualifying.
Yeah, it's a long way to go for them to catch up. I mean, as I say, Blue Mosquito, once he got by on HDE, he just kind of disappeared away, and the rest of them couldn't get by quick enough to keep up with the Red Bull. He's now actually closed up to the battle for what is 3rd and 4th and now 5th, as he makes it a free car battle between him, Ash and Flying Froome. He does have 15 seconds of penalty, so does Blue Mosquito. Obviously they might be looked at post-race, Scott. He'll be really hoping that is the case, because he's still got a chance at winning this championship, having came in with an 11-point gap to the championship leader, which is QPR Beast, who's all the way down in 14th position at the moment, and the rain has really thrown everything on its head.
It really has. It's a head scratching, but unexpectedly, perhaps they were anticipating the heavy rain would stay out a bit longer, but no, I mean it eased off basically as the safety car ran out, and that must have been such a nightmare. And as soon as they went back up to temperature on the restart, those on the intermediates had such a huge advantage. That's why Jamie was just slicing through people like a knife through hot butter. It was just absolutely incredible to see the difference in performance, because it was still really heavy rain at the beginning of the safety car, but by the end of it, it was clearly the intermediates were superior. But here comes Blue Mosquito then, thinking about a move. Now I'm going to go back to Aaron, because I think Aaron might have a think about a dive on Hulkenberg. No, he's way too far back. But HDE has really struggled in these conditions, and now he's holding them back up. Oh my goodness, AMS had to take avoiding action because HDE forced to brake a little bit earlier than the cars behind. So the likes of Big C, John and Manu, they're going to have to be careful. They can't get too close to AMS, because AMS may have to take avoiding action to get ahead of this Mercedes. I'm not sure if HD's got damage. Doesn't look like he does. There's no missing end plates, but of course sometimes the damage is not visual to us. Oh my goodness, how close does AMS want to get to the back of that Mercedes? AMS then building up speed. Going to have a quick look at Aaron though, because Aaron is building up speed. Ferrari power unit versus Ferrari power unit, but superior aerodynamics, and it's a sweeping move from Aaron. Alonso and Schumacher style, though not quite as dramatic as that. AMS and HD's gone miles wide at 1/30. He's going to try and come back onto the track to get to the inside. He dives to the inside. Oh, contact into HDE spun. Oh, contact. Luckily though, I don't think he collected anybody. I'm not sure if Big C though may have made slight contact. Did he get any damage? I'm not sure.
Car looks fine on screen, but everyone managed to avoid him. QPR Beast had to go the long way round to avoid that Mercedes as he heads into pit lane. I'm going to see if he had any damage, because nothing was visible on that Mercedes, but that would have put a few hearts in the mouth there for the likes of Big C and especially QPR Beast as well. Those two still in the championship battle. That would have really made them sit up and take notice. Slick tyres for HDE. It's going on a set of
slick tyres. Well, that's
insane.
The intermediate gamble was one thing, but there is still a lot of spray out there. I think we may get a bit of a comedy show from HDE shortly. Hopefully not. I mean, if it pays off for him, then good for him, but there is a lot of spray out there. Usually the spray is a good indicator of whether we're close to dry conditions, and there's still quite a bit of spray out there, still quite a little bit of surf water. There is a racing line starting to form here though, so it may not be too long before we get dry conditions, but yeah, HDE has already retired. So I don't think he crashed. I think he just literally retired the car.
No, he just retired the car on track. I was watching him there, and he was trying to get the power down out of turn number 2, and there was just absolutely no grip at all. It was just washing wide, understeering like crazy. Even at 50 miles an hour, it was still wanting to understeer off the track. There's no grip at all. Tried something a bit different, either that or he set the strategy up wrong and it's put him on the wrong tyres and he's decided enough is enough.
Yes, exactly. Well, Jamie has the advantage at the moment, but CC Brain, we talked about earlier, seems to have excellent race pace in that Williams because he is catching. He seems to be going about 4 tenths a lap quicker than Jamie at the moment, judging by the last few laps, which I've been jotting down, as Greeny sets a blistering pace. But of course, as the track begins to dry, or at least the conditions ease off, the lap times will tumble lap after lap. So we won't get a true indicator of the pure lap times until the conditions go to dry. But one thing that is certain, it seems like Jamie's gained 3 tenths so far in sector 1, so CC Brain struggling a little bit in the sector. But look at Greeny and Iran, Andy. They are rapidly catching Mosquito, Flying Throne and Ash Best here. So this title fight is about to get really hot here because Flying Throne, Blue Mosquito, Greeny and Iran and Hulkenberg, although he's kind of out of it now. These are all title challengers. So let's have a look then. Blue Mosquito may have to get a move on. It's got the best car here. It's got the Red Bull out of this trio of cars. Ash Best actually dropped 3.9 seconds now away from his teammate for the evening. Iran then in P7, not far off. So Greeny FC will be joining this party shortly. Let's have a look at Joliet Amanu battling his old nemesis Big C. Josh just behind. Game Freaker, well, kind of caught out. He was definitely caught out by the way the strategies played out because he was, fighting for the lead early on, at least for a podium position, but now he's been stuck in traffic for a long time. QPR Beast, well, he's P14, the championship leader. It's not looking good for him at the moment. Again, he was a bit of a victim of the way the strategy played out, and he's just not been able to clear the traffic, Andy. So at the moment, QPR Beast, it's not really in his own hands.
No, it's definitely not. I've actually just done some quick maths there because we are just basically hitting halfway distance as Jamie crosses the line. So if it was to finish as it is right now, we're going to ignore any penalties that the drivers might have. As you see, just watching there's Game Freak try to go up the inside there. All cats are grey into the Cassia Triangle chicane. But at the moment, your championship champion would be Flying Froome in 4th position at the moment. He'd be on 36 points. Greeny would be second on 35 points, and QPR Beast would finish 3rd on 34. So it's so close at the top at the moment as we hit halfway distance. Gamer Freak manages to get through on All Cats Are Grey there into turn number 1. Nice little move, just got a better exit and a great run down towards turn number 1. But at the moment, the racing point driver Flying Froome, he is the one who has got the championship in his grasp as we're at halfway distance. It's not looking good for QPR Beast, who's obviously down in 14th position, out of the points, came into this with a lead of 5 points over his nearest rival, which was Greeny, and Greeny's still going to miss out because Flying Froome has timed it to absolute perfection with the strategy.
You really feel though, Andy, Flying Froome's got to try and get ahead of this Williams because he knows if he makes any mistakes right now, he's going to get absolutely swamped by the card behind. Blue Mosquito and Greeny FC, they're right in his mirrors, and Aaron is about to join them as well. Now, for Aaron to win the championship, he had to win the race realistically and hope his rivals had a shocker. One of them's had a shocker so far, and that's QPR Beast, through no fault of his own, of course, just caught out by the way the strategies played out. Now, the rain is getting, less intense, but it hasn't stopped yet. So, it's still no question that the intermediate is the tyre to be on at this stage. Blue Mosquito misjudges the braking of into the Casio Triangle, and he's lost a place to Greeny. Greeny will be Hulkenberger. Thank you very much there. And Aaron's going to be trying to get ahead of Blue Mosquito as well. Blue Mosquito caught out by Ash Best braking maybe, and nearly hit the back of him, but he's lost several positions. So now Aaron up to P4, Blue Mosquito in P5, and we've got some pit activity.
Yeah, Ash and Flying Froome have came in fresh set of intermediate tyres. So
interesting. So that indicates then that we're not going to get dry running. So that's certainly something to keep an eye on. So let's have a look then. Aaron right on the back then. Aaron's got ahead of Blue Mosquito, and then we've got Greeny LFC in P3. So that, as it stands, Greeny FC will be taking the championship at the moment. So Big C then, having a look at AMS, he's been staring at the back of that Renault for some time. Hulkenberger has dropped dramatically from the leading pack, and now he could be about to be attacked by the likes of AMS and Big C. who do have quite a bit more experience of running performance, especially AMS, former PSGL Formula Performance champion, of course. So he has a lot of experience of driving these different cars. But side by side then go Josh and QPR Beast. QPR Beast, he's got to try. He's desperate to try and get ahead of someone. Into P11, side by side in Spoon Curve. Don't see overtaking here too often. Lay on the brakes. The inside is the better place to be there. Slightly wide from QPR Beast, but that's a really brave and excellent overtake in these conditions. CC Brain still trying to catch up with Jamie, who's got a 4.5 second advantage. So Jamie, he can pretty much pit when he wants, really. He's in the box here at the moment. Iran is now within the proverbial DRS of Greeny FC. There is no DRS, of course, in these wet conditions. It sets the fast lap of the race with a 1:42.561. And any other drivers? Yeah, looks like we've got AMS, more pit activity. John and Manu coming in as well, and as they carry on. So those who did start, who came in later, they may be able to go to the end from here. And Cablo has had a little spin there. Yep, another spin for the Ferrari. Oh, spins in front of Jamie. Hopefully Jamie sees him. Oh, thank goodness for ghosting on lapped cars, because that could have been horrible. CC Brain in there, but it looks like a transmission failure then for Josh. So that's very unfortunate for him. He's currently P10, but he's going to be dropping to the back very shortly. But so main focus now is the battle for P3. Greeny FC is fending off Iran, and these two incidentally, and Iran had to take a bit of avoiding action there. Sometimes the braking to hairpin can be very tricky indeed, but he gets it slowed down, and they are beginning to close in on CC Brain, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. They're slowly closing in there. As you say, it's very tricky breaking into the hairpins. You're taking that flat out right-hander just before you get into the braking zones. It makes it very tricky, especially in these conditions. Looks like the McLaren driver there, all cats are grey, having a few connection issues, dropped out of the session, came back in and has dropped out already. So hopefully he can gain control before the end and finish up the season as best he can. Currently watching this Game Freaker trying to do the best he can to get through on Big C in the Alfa Romeo. The Red Bull obviously a better car than the Alfa Romeo in terms of performance, but drivers obviously a wee bit more important in these conditions in the car. And as you come up to the Cassia Triangle chicane, you can see they're catching the Renault, the Hulkenberger as well as Juliana Manu. See, I told you I'd get that wrong. Picks up a 3-second time penalty. There's quite a few time penalties through the field. Some 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Some of them just excessive track limits in one go, 5 or 10 seconds. Those might be, contested in the steward's office afterwards, which means we might not fully know the champion depending on where everyone finishes come at the end of the race. Greeny's obviously now up into P3 and trying to pull away. He's dragging along Iran as well, though, which is going to be a very interesting one indeed. Yellow flag in Sector 1 and Sector 3. Not too sure what's causing that one as it disappears very quickly. But the complexion of the race is changing pretty much lap on lap. Obviously, some of them, as we've seen, have came into the pits for a fresh set of intermediate tyres, maybe burnt them out a bit too quickly as it is. It's getting lighter rain. I don't think we're going to reach slicks just maybe at the end of the race, if anything. But they're obviously deciding they want to be on fresher tyres and take that chance, and the drivers ahead burn them off. I mean, if you look at Jamie and CC Brain, for example, 14 laps, they were one of the first guys to pit for intermediates during the safety car. So, unless they've kept the tyres in good condition, they will slowly start to be going off and being worse for wear.
Yes, I mean, it's going to come to a point, if it doesn't rain, if it doesn't dry out, I should say, for the likes of Jamie and CC Brain, who at the moment have the most active, most laps on those intermediates, they're going to be, getting slightly twitchy about possible punches towards the end of the race. We did mention earlier that tyre wear isn't a big issue, but eventually, even at a track like this, the tyres can be a bit dodgy in terms of the tyre life. But Greeny now nearly within 3 seconds of CC Brain, so they really are pushing hard, and they can afford to because they've got fresher tyres than the two drivers ahead. Now, right behind, Hulkenberg.
Oh my goodness me, sorry, gross miss. Great Game Freaker there nearly hit the pit wall on the entrance of the pit wall going down the front straight. He got a tank slapper on and just missed the wall by the merest of millimetres. Thought it was going to be a humongous crash there. He's just picked up an R5-second penalty, trying to put one up the inside the Big C into the chicane, and there was nowhere to go, and then he nearly put it in the wall. And I was on board while he did that, and my goodness, he was so close to hitting that.
Well, Game Freaker living very dangerously then, clearly, but still not able to get past the Alfa Romeo. I mean, he's all over the back of Big C's Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo is a good car in its own right, but the downforce that the Red Bull has especially for Sector 1, is vastly superior to the Alfa Romeo, and this is why Game Freak is able to follow this car so closely. And now may have a chance at a move here. Big C trying to fend off the inside to prevent the dive, and yeah, I mean, that was beautifully placed from Big C. Actually gave Game Freak no chance of making a dive down the inside, but you know, given Big C's experience and his many race wins and championships in PSGL, you would expect nothing less for that kind of execution. But Game Freak is still not able to get ahead, but he's going to have to get a move on, because now QPRB slowly playing himself back into this. He's not in position to win the championship at the moment, but if he can get ahead of a couple more cars, he may suddenly be back in this. A few laps ago, it looked like he was really out of it. So Game Freak will carry on. Game Freak, can he go for a move? Oh, Big C slips wide. Game Freak tries to go for a move down the inside, but no, not able to make a move at the moment. Ash Best then side by side for 130R with Mr. Grumpy. Oh, goodness me. Well, Mr. Grumpy and Ash Best, they've raced enough times, and Ash Best did back off in the end, otherwise it could have been a massive accident there. But Ash Best really holding up, flying throne. He's not able to get ahead of the Williams in the pit stops, so again, his championship bid is beginning to slip away. But
oh, contact! Game Freaker's just hit Big C. He's off into the inside of turn number 2. Big C ran a little bit wide through turn number 2. Game Freaker tried to put the Red Bull up the inside there, and of course the Alfa Romeo was still coming into the apex of the corner. Contact was made and the Red Bull comes off worse. Looks like there's no damage to the car, but it put him down a number of places.
He's really holding up the car. Rejoin track. He's really holding up the cars behind. This might give Grumpy half a chance to make a move outside, and
QPRB has got Big C.
Overtaking Big C as well. Game Freaker. Oh my goodness. It's one of the things when you go off the track here at Suzuka, it takes a while to clean up the tyres. I have found that a few times here. So Game Freaker now struggling to stay ahead like some Max Luke and Miss Grumpy. It's a Game Freaker train here right now, and Aaron right on the back of Greeny's Toro Rosso. So I think I might have a quick look at that shortly, because look at that, they're in 1.8 seconds now of the Williams of CC Brain, so they'll be on the back of them very shortly. Let's have a look at Aaron then. So Aaron now having a look. Look at the speed that Ferrari's got compared to the Honda Power Unit. Will Aaron go for a lunge into the Castillo Triangle? No, he's not quite close enough at the moment.
More contact. On the grass, flying off the grass there.
Oh, dearie me. Ash Best and Mr. Grumpy, they came into contact. I saw it on the radar. I saw like one car making a lunge. I think it might have been the Williams. Ash Best down to P15. And Flying Throne, he's been released. He's now ahead of both of them. So if we get a few more pit stops late on, might give him half a chance. But look at this, as the laps begin to close in. And another incident. Oh, looks like Mr. Grumpy's gone off.
Staying
at 130R, yeah, he's gone off. So I think could see a bit of a retirement for Mr. Grumpy shortly. Seems to be really struggling now. We're going to go back to the fight for P3, because look, CC Brain, 17 laps on those intermediates compared to the 14 and 13 respectively for Greeny, and Iran are now closing in on them. They clearly have much more pace. Through the Degners they go. I think by the end of this lap they'll be all over the back of that Williams, and I dare say, Andy, they'll clear it quite comfortably if they get the opportunity.
If they catch up with the pace, they should easily be able to clear it. You're absolutely right in that sense. But, you know, he's doing a great job in that Williams at the moment, but those two are just starting to close in ever so slightly. Of course, they've got 3 or 4 lap younger tyres than CC Brain as well. He's been on them for 17 laps, whereas Greeny's been on his for 14 and Aaron on them for 13. So he's got the freshest tyres out of the top 4 by a nice little way as well over the top 2. But Jamie's doing a great job up front. Still 5 really and a bit seconds clear, and he's just been so consistent keeping that gap clean. So he's doing a really, really good job.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie, he can afford actually to ease off. But will we get dry running? Will we get any sort of dry running? Because we are getting into that window where for CC Brain and Jamie to pit now, it's almost a do or die moment strategically. They may have to just try and stick it out there with the tyres that they've currently got and try and get to the end of the race, because I think they're getting to the stage where they won't have the laps to regain and take advantage of the strategy. In Jamie's case, I think it's not worth pitting now. I think he has to stay out. It doesn't matter how bad the tyres get. He's just got to try and bring it home. I think that's all he can do at this stage. So Josh having a look at Free Gloves at the moment, not quite close enough behind. Flying Throne has rapidly caught the Alfa Romeo of Maxi Luca. So it just shows how much time Flying Throne lost. Stuck behind, you know, Ash Best and people like that, because he's now rapidly catching Maxi Luca. Not going to make a move right there though, and right behind them, Ash Best and Jolly Alamanu going side by side. McLaren versus Williams, a battle from years gone by, that is. And Ash Besso having slightly better speed and a good well braked down there. But now we will focus our attention because now CC Brain will have his mirrors full of Toro Rosso Honda and Ferrari as we get to the business end of this Japanese race here for the season finale of PSGL Formula Experience Season 2. And I think Greeny LFC will be thinking, well, if I can get ahead of that Williams on the main straight and box in the Ferrari, that will give me a bit of breathing space at least for a couple of laps.
That could be an interesting one as Mr. Grumpy retires. I've just done some quick maths at the end of the last lap there, and at the moment, championship-wise, if it was to finish like this, QPR Beasts and Greeny would tie on 39 points. That's where we're at right now.
Well,
so P2 is important for Greeny to make sure he's, getting the championship.
Yes, because realistically,
8 seconds behind Blue Mosquito as well.
Yeah, realistically, unless Blue Mosquito has a big problem in the closing laps, like his tyres explode, because he's got the same, 17 laps. Not quite as bad a situation as Jamie CC Brain, but QPR Beast, he's going to have to hope for something to happen to one of the cars ahead. And Greeny does get ahead of him on the main straight, and he's done it perfectly, because now Aaron's going to have to follow that Williams at least through Sector 1, and that's going to be torture for Aaron, because he's not going to be able to overtake him there unless CC Brain makes a big mistake. But I think the tyres for CC Brain are definitely beginning to go. So now Greeny will, I think he'll have the fresher tyres to chase after Jamie even at this late stage, because I think he'll be probably at least a second a lap faster on as the tyres die off. But Aaron, well, he's got to try and get ahead of that Williams as quickly as possible, because he's going to be dropping time after time. As we speak, could be over a second before he gets it. I think the hairpin with first from cheese. So let's see then. The Ferrari heading through the second Degner, end of Sector 1. Will he go for a lunge into the hairpin? Doesn't look close enough at the moment, but you never know. Aaron, he likes a dive bomb now and again, but no, sensible driving from the three-time PSGL F1 champion. He's going to carry on. CC Brain, I think he had a smooth Sector 1, Sector 2 there. Hasn't lost too much time to Greeny, to be fair to him. So Blue Mosquito in P5, QPR Beast in P6. So it's a tie championship at the moment, but with Greeny's overtake, I think that does put Greeny into pole position to win this Formula Experience Season 2 championship. So just as it was Season 19, a dramatic tyre decider, and you can see the traction, Andy, that CC Brain has coming out of Spoon Curb. It's non-existent now. I think Aaron will blast past him with ease.
Yeah, up towards 135. He's going to have to nearly do the Alonso move there, but CC Brain realised he was fighting a losing battle there, backs out and allows the Ferrari pretty easy passage through, although he has a wee nibble down the inside into the chicane, but he's just not got the grip there with those tyres being about 3-4 laps older than the ones on the Ferrari. You can see already the power advantage and the aero advantage for that Ferrari already pulling half a second clear just out of the chicane. So that is the difference you can get on a little bit fresher tyres, and obviously the cars are performance.
Here comes flying through him, trying to make a move around the outside of Casio Triangle. That's not really the ideal position you want to be. Maxi Luca at his right, defending position, but flying through him's championship bid is really fading now. Down in P12. Will he regret pitting again? I'm not sure he had to, because it looks like Jamie and CC Brain will make the end of the race, but still got a few laps to go. But to be fair to Jamie, Greeny's not exactly rapidly catching up Jamie, and if anything, he's going to have Aaron to worry about. So if those two battle, Jamie will be able to afford to ease off just a little bit more and save those tyres. We've had 4 retirements so far. Juho Finn retiring on the opening lap with some sort of wheel failure, and then HC retiring. Having struggled throughout in the wet and then put on the soft tyres accidentally, and I think that's why we had enough. Then Cablo retired, and then with an accident, and then Mr. Grumpy retired in the pits. So 4 retirements so far, which, given the conditions, Andy, is not too bad going.
No, absolutely not. And I think Mr. Grumpy's got involved in a bit of an incident with Ash, and then he pitted to repair some damage, and he picked up a 5-second penalty to go with it, and probably just went, I've had enough of this, to be honest, which I can't really blame him for after that. But plenty has happened here. I mean, it doesn't seem... the fact we're on lap 23 already is quite incredible. I've seen a comment in the chat saying it was a snooze fest. I don't think it has been. In terms of the overall positions, at the front, obviously Jamie's been doing a great job.
Oh, here comes Aaron. No, sorry to cut you off. Here comes Aaron and Greeny side by side. Battle for P2. Aaron takes the position. So Aaron fighting outside bet for the championship. How does it stand? So it's not enough for him to take P2 from Greeny. Oh, an instant flying throw him out of the race. Oh, flying throw him out of the race. He's binned it at the end of 130R. Oh dear, and it's a safety car at this late stage. Oh, I can't believe it. Oh,
One
poor
lap.
Jamie. Oh, Jamie's been absolutely screwed over. Flying Throne has flown off the track and he has blown this title battle wide open. Does this give QPR Beast half a chance of winning this championship? Because now it closes the gap to Blue Mosquito, who has significantly older tyres. Is anyone going to pit at this late stage? Well, as best he can. He's so low down the field. But I think this safety car will probably be out for a couple of laps and it'll probably be in, I would say, at the end of, well, maybe the end of 25. So I think we'll get at least two, maybe 3 laps of racing at the end. So we've got a lot to cover over. So Andy, if you want to just have a look at the penalty situation, because realistically, as it stands, it looks like the tyre battle is between Greeny LFC and QPR Beasts.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go through it now in terms of penalties. I know
Greeny's
not had any.
Drive-through for a Blue Mosquito. So he's going to have to come in for a drive-through penalty to safety car restart, which means QPR Beast is going to gain a position. So he'll be up to P5. And given CC Brain's terrible tyres, QPR Beast all of a sudden is back in this.
This has just been so topsy-turvy. It's been incredible. Looking through the penalties, Aaron's got a 5-second time penalty. Greeny's got nothing. He's only got the 1 warning. QPR Beast has only got the 1 warning as well.
Wow, okay.
Blue Mosquito, even before that drive-through, he's got 2 5-second penalties and a 10-second penalty. So he's halfway back towards going to Narnia at this rate with that many penalties. So QPR Beast, so this safety car really drags him back into it. And what looked like a lost cause has really just opened back up from it. I'm going to do a last wee bit of sums based on where they sit here on lap 25 and tell you where we're at as we are, but we're going to need to wait until the end of the race and try and do the sums to see where it looks like we're going to end up. But my goodness, this has been all over the place today.
It really has been. But I would say if QPR Beast gets ahead of Blue Mosquito, which he will, it's guaranteed, unless he gets a drive-through penalty or something, he'll get ahead of Blue Mosquito. And CC Brain, I'm not sure he'll have anything to defend with in that Williams now, given how old the tyres are and the temperature situation. So I think a podium, especially if Jamie struggles as well, will be enough for QPR Beast to win championship. Because at the moment it's a 5-point gap between QPR Beast and Green FC. It can't finish on a tie between them because unless of course QPR Beast were to win the race, because Greeny has won a race this season. So if it finishes on a tie and QPR Beast isn't winning, then he will win championship. However, if QPR Beast were to win, he has got a superior second place to Greeny FC, who has a 3rd place. So QPR Beast will have 3 podiums to Greeny's 2. So it's well, it could be hard to trigger out, but I think realistically, I think Aaron's going to win the race from here on track. But given the penalty situation you mentioned, I think the battle for the race win is between Greeny FC and QPR Beast now.
If I've just done some quick sums on the top guys, basically. And if it was to finish as it was, ignoring penalties, so we ignore Blue Mosquito's drive-through for just a second, they'd be tied on points at 39 apiece for QPR Beast and Greeny LFC. However, if they finish like this, and obviously QPR Beast moves up to 5th, which he will do, safety car in this lap, then it's a 1-point advantage. So it would be 40 points to 39 in QPR Beast's favour. So really big difference.
Look at Aaron, he's egging to go. Look at this. He's like, get on with it, Jamie. You old man, get going. I'm sure Aaron would be more polite about it than that. But Aaron, this restart, I don't think James can have a prayer of defending this. He's got no tyres left. But here we go then, the restart then. It is a 2-lap shootout here at Suzuka, like old times. Green FC has gone straight past CC Brain. Jamie's going to try and defend it but on the inside, but no chance really. He's got such old tyres now. QPR Beast battling away with Blue Mosquito. Blue Mosquito, his head must be down so much right now because he's going to have a drive-through at the end of this lap. Otherwise, he will be disqualified because he can't take a drive-through on the final lap. So he's got to come in at the end of this one. Otherwise, that's it for him. So Green FC up to 3rd, but that is not enough for him to win the championship at the moment. He needs to beat QPR Beast by at least 5 points to win the championship. But at the moment, CC Brain... Oh, wait, what's happened to Greeny? Greeny's got a puncher! Greeny's got a left front puncher! I can't believe it! He's got a puncher, that is unbelievable, and he spins off the track. He's out! Greeny is out! QPR Beast is surely the Formula Experience champion. Oh my goodness, dramatic scenes here at Suzuka. It's just like Jack Villeneuve when his tyre came off, handing Damon Hill the championship in '96. Well, I did not expect that. I was expecting maybe Jamie or CC Brain to get a puncher because they've got more on their tyres than Greeny had, but oh, that is such a shame for Greeny. What horrendous luck. And now QPR Beast will overtake CC Brain to get onto the podium. It has gone completely. Oh my goodness, CC Brain. Has he got a punch? He's just hurtled off the track even for 130 yards. So I think his tyres are gone.
Yeah, he's got a rear puncture, I think, possibly.
Yeah, he's got a rear puncture. So CC Brain tyres have finally gone. Surely, Jamie.
Right rear puncture for him.
Yeah, unusual to get a rear puncture. It's usually the fronts on the game, but it does happen sometimes. You just push them out a little bit too far. So Aaron on the final lap. I mean, can Aaron get? He's got a lot of penalties, to be fair, Aaron. So, well, actually, what penalties has Jamie got?
5. Jamie has got none.
Oh my goodness! So,
whereas Aaron's got 5.
Yeah, so at the moment Jamie's in position. So Jamie's just got to hold on for one more lap. So QPR Beast is almost certainly going to win the championship. Blue Mosquito, he had a drive-through, but he never came in. Surely he's going to get disqualified.
He'll either get DQ'd or it'll get added like a huge chunk of like 15-20 seconds or so at his time at the end.
Oh, maybe. Oh, yes. Yeah. Is that the case? I thought he had to actually serve
crash coming up to Dunlop. We've got Mclaren off. We've got Big C off as well.
Oh, dearie me. It's chaotic here.
It's all going on.
Well, there's not going to be a safety car now. We're on the final lap. There's only yellow flags in Sector 1, so overtaking still going on here. So the battle for the lead is between Jamie and QPR Beast. QPR Beast heading towards the championship here. Dramatic scenes here at Suzuka. It's been a highly fascinating race, topsy-turvy strategies, but crucially, Jamie was one of the first come for intermediates. He took full advantage. Big C retires then. He's crashed out of the Degners out of the race, so he's out of the championship fight. So it's now all up to QPR Beast. He just needs to finish. I don't think anyone else can deny. Well, actually, if he were to crash out, it might give Aaron a chance. The championship just needs to get through. Doesn't need to risk it, actually, at this stage.
Sorry, Maxie Lucas and I think it was Hulkenberger or Giuliano. It was just bumping wheels there, and the Alfa Romeo went flying.
Well, here we go then. Jamie's going to head through the final corner. So Aaron is backing up the pack. What's this about? It's going to be a formation finish over the line. So Jamie will cross the line to win this race here. Japan become the 6th different winner, but it is QPR Beast. It is QPR Beast who's going to win the championship here. He's paid his dues. He's committed no crime, but he is the champion, my friends, of the world. Unbelievable. What a race.
Wow, that last lap was just incredible. What an end to the season. What a finish to the year. Looks like we had some more crashes. AMS is retired as well on the last lap. I think he was off at 130 yards, so we're only going to end up with 12 finishers. Maybe the 2 Williams cars that crossed the line, but Jamie takes the win due to Aaron's 5-second penalty, but it won't matter either way because QPR Beast is the PSGL Formula Experience champion of Season 2.
He certainly is. QPR Beast, well, he was down at 14, 15 when the initial strategies played out. He must have been thinking, well, that was it. There was no way I'm going to get back into this, but then it turned again. And that puncher to Greeny late on is what sealed the championship for him because Greeny was ahead of him on track, but my goodness. But Jamie played that strategy to perfection. He read it perfectly, Jenson Button style, and it's great to see Jamie actually win a race in PSGL again. It's been such a long time. He is well known for his exploits in Gran Turismo Sport, in other reputable league organisations, but he has come back here to become the 6th different winner of the season. Absolutely brilliant stuff. So let's go through the provisional result then for this particular race. It is Jamie who takes the win here with no penalties, and QPR Beast no penalties, and he wins the PSGL Formula Experience Season 2. So big congratulations to him. Aaron, a fine effort, pole position and a podium for him. So a great end to the season. 3 gloves with a very solid 4th place starting from 15th. So arguably driver of the day material. And then we got Josh in P5, Giuliano in P6, so good day for the 2 McLaren drivers. Max Luca in P7, one of the reserves. Game Freak in P8, Hulkenberger in P9, getting a point in the end. And Blue Mosquito just got 35 seconds of penalties in the end. My goodness. So he must have got a wallop because of not serving that drive-through.
He got 20 seconds for not doing the drive-through, plus the 10 and 15 seconds that he had.
I learned something new. I didn't know you could not serve it, but obviously losing 20 seconds is about the same as you lose in the pit lane, so maybe not quite so worth it. But he got a point, so that's all that matters there. Well, I tell you what can you say about that race? I mean, that was that's what you want from a Titan series. You had drama, you had some really good overtaking action, some incidents, a little bit of everything. It was almost Germany 2019 style, that.
There was so much going on at one point. It was absolutely ridiculous trying to keep up. The rain, when we seen it just before the start of the race, I said the words, "This will put the cat amongst the pigeons," basically. And by goodness, did it ever! It was absolutely incredible. We've seen overtakes, we've seen strategies play out. I don't know if you've seen it on the stream, but Jamie's tyres in Park Fermi were slicks. There was no tread on the front tyres at all on that
I'm
car.
not surprised.
I'm
not surprised. He had literally nothing left.
Oh.
I mean, it came down to luck really at the end, because Greeny got a puncher, CC Brain got a rear right puncher, but he didn't. He looked after his tyres. But Jamie was well known for being very good at looking after his tyres back when he was in PS2 F1 and calling the right strategies. So we've had 6 different winners this season, and it's been a really enjoyable sort of, a more casual, more for fun sort of championship. But we've seen some really good racing from some of the greats of PSGL over the years. And we've still got plenty of action to come PSGL before we're done with F1 2019. The Esports Cup, was delayed by some technical issues, so we've still got a few rounds of that to go. Monday's at 8 o'clock tomorrow, and then we've got the Race of Champions. So keep an eye on the PSGL Twitter for that. And I think a commentary team has been announced for that. This is my last commentary on this game, and well, I tell you what, I don't need to do another one, because that was a pretty great way to sign out, I think, as a commentator on this game. So Andy, any closing thoughts outside, of course, of congratulating the race winner, the podium sitter, and QPRBs on his championship?
Yeah, but apart from obviously the congratulations to those guys, of course, for their respective results tonight and over the season as well. But that is between my last race before this was the last race in AOR PS4 F1. That was a great race. This had a lot in it as well. There's so much going on. The rain really threw everything up in the air, different strategies. We've seen 2 punctures, we've seen 2 safety cars, we've seen some really good overtaking as well, some really good battles down the field too, plenty of drama and action. At one point we had Flying Froome winning the championship, which then became Greeny, and then eventually it went back to the person who came into the evening as the championship leader in QPR Beast, and that's how it ended up. So what a finish. And I think for me as well, like yourself, this will probably be my last commentary, I'd imagine, on F1 2019, and well, I would say that was definitely worth. If you had to pay the entry fee for that, just for the drama that we've seen, that was definitely worth the price.
Yeah, I mean, back in season 19 on PS2 F1, we had a similar dramatic title decide, but I mean, that in its own way was even more dramatic. I mean, that was for me one of the best races I've seen on the game. It had a bit of everything. It very reminiscent of sort of Germany 2019 in real life, the way it happened. Well, that's it from Andy and I. It's been great working with you, Andy, again after our long stint in AOR. So great to get the band together one more time, and perhaps we'll do it again on the next time we have the Formula Experience Championship.
You never know. I'm always open to options if it works and with what I'm doing and work, etc. But it was nice to be along. Thank you to PSGL and yourself for the invite, and really enjoyed that. And I hope everyone watching enjoyed it too. And we'll join in next season either by watching or signing up to one of the many leagues in the league as well. There's plenty of them going about. Keep an eye on the Twitter feed, as Mark was saying, be the best place for it. F1 2020 is only 2 weeks away. Not far to go now.
And real life Formula 1 is back as well. Can't wait. Oh man, Formula 2, Formula 3. I can finally start my Formula 2 stream series. So that's going to be great. So check that out on my channel. Cheap plug, I know. But that's it from us, from Andy and myself. And as I mentioned earlier, check us PSGL. Leave a like and a subscribe for the PSGL Esports Cup tomorrow, which will be back for its next round. I think we've still got a few rounds to go. And thanks for watching, and see you all next time on PSGL.